Ladies and gentlemen, today I want you to hear this with your heart wide awake. You are not an option, you are not a backup plan, and you are not a replacement. You are created with worth, with dignity, and with a purpose that is too powerful to be placed in second place in anyone's life. When you lower your standards to fit someone else's convenience, you shrink your own destiny. And you were never made to live small. Self-respect is the foundation on which every other part of your life stands. When you recognize your worth, you begin to see how every choice you make is either honoring you or diminishing you. It's not arrogance to know your value, it's wisdom. People who understand their worth stop chasing after situations that drain them because they realize they are too important to be treated carelessly. Self-respect means refusing to negotiate your dignity for temporary attention. It means you don't allow anyone to bargain with your value like it's a discount item on a shelf. When you say yes to disrespect, you quietly say no to yourself. And the more often you say no to yourself, the more you begin to lose your voice, your confidence, and your inner strength. A person with self-respect sets clear boundaries. Boundaries are not walls to keep love out. They are doors that allow only the right kind of love in. When your boundaries are strong, you do not beg to be seen, heard, or valued. You don't compete for a place in someone's life because you know that anything that requires you to beg is already beneath your worth. Self-respect teaches you that loneliness is not the worst thing that can happen to you. The worst thing is abandoning yourself to avoid being alone. When you hold on to your dignity, you may walk through seasons where you stand alone, but you stand tall. You learn that your own company with peace is better than company that costs you your identity. When you make self-respect non-negotiable, you stop accepting half love, half truths, and half effort. You stop believing the lie that you must settle for less because this is the best you will get. You begin to realize that settling is a form of self-betrayal. Every time you settle, you tell yourself that your dreams, your tears, your prayers, and your heart do not matter. Self-respect reminds you that you teach others how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you tolerate lies, you will receive lies. If you tolerate neglect, you will receive neglect. If you tolerate being placed second, you will continue to live second. But when you raise your standards, the wrong people disappear and the right ones begin to respect the space you have created. It is self-respect that gives you the courage to walk away from what confuses your heart and drains your spirit. Walking away is not weakness. It is a declaration that you refuse to be diminished. It is choosing inner peace over chaos, clarity over confusion, and dignity over desperation. You understand that staying in the wrong place costs more than leaving it. Self-respect also shapes the way you speak to yourself. The words you whisper in your own mind either build you or break you. When you value yourself, you stop using language that belittles you. You no longer say, "I am not enough," or "I should be grateful for anything I get." Instead, your inner voice becomes firm, kind, and truthful about your value. With self-respect, you begin to make decisions that align with your long-term peace rather than short-term emotion. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who have already decided not to see it. You invest your time where you are appreciated, not merely tolerated. You protect your heart as something precious, not something to be gambled with. Self-respect is non-negotiable because it is directly tied to your identity, your purpose, and your future. When you honor yourself, life begins to mirror that honor back to you in the form of healthier relationships, clearer choices, and unshakable confidence. Never accepting being a second choice begins with the simple realization that your heart is not a spare part kept on a shelf for convenience. When you allow yourself to be treated as an option, you silently agree that others can decide your worth for you. You deserve to be someone's priority, not their backup plan when life becomes uncomfortable or lonely for them. Being chosen fully brings a sense of security and peace that being second can never provide. When you accept a second-place position in someone's life, you constantly battle doubt and comparison. You start wondering what the other person has that you don't, or why you were not enough to be first. This emotional tug of war drains your confidence and steals your joy. Your heart is not built to live in competition for affection over and over again. Being second choice often forces you to adjust yourself to fit someone else's story instead of writing your own. You shrink your needs, silence your questions, and lower your expectations just to keep your place. Over time, you stop recognizing yourself. You forget the strong, whole, deserving person you once believed you were, all because you chose to stay where you were not fully valued. You deserve a love that arrives without confusion. You deserve words that match actions, promises that do not require you to share your place, and commitment that is not divided. When you refuse to accept being second, you send a powerful message not only to others, but also to your own heart that you are worthy of clarity and certainty. Saying no to being second choice is not harsh, it is healthy. It protects your emotional well-being from constant comparison, jealousy, and insecurity. When you choose to step away from situations where you are not prioritized, you choose peace over chaos and self-worth over desperation. You learn that your value does not depend on someone's ability to recognize it. Many people accept being second out of fear of loneliness, fear of age, fear that a better relationship may never come. But fear is a poor advisor. It pushes you toward compromises that leave long scars on your heart. Courage, on the other hand, reminds you that waiting alone with dignity is far better than staying attached where you are not honored. When you refuse to be second choice, you also refuse to participate in unfair dynamics that hurt others. You step away from triangles, secrets, divided loyalties, and hidden roles. You choose integrity over emotional crumbs. Your decision becomes a statement that you value honesty, transparency, and fairness in relationships. Never accepting second place also teaches you patience with yourself. You stop rushing into connections just to fill a void. You begin to trust that your worth does not expire with time. You allow yourself to heal, to grow, and to become the kind of person who attracts respect because you now radiate it from within. You begin to recognize the difference between attention and value. Attention can be temporary, inconsistent, and impulsive, but value shows up in commitment, presence, and effort. When you insist on being first choice, you insist on receiving value rather than momentary excitement that disappears when something new arrives. Choosing never to be a second choice reshapes your entire life. It changes the way you walk into relationships, the standards you set, and the confidence with which you carry yourself. It reminds you every single day that you are worthy of being chosen completely, not partially, fully seen, not half acknowledged, loved openly, not quietly in the shadows. Becoming aware of the emotional consequences of accepting a second place role begins with recognizing how deeply the heart longs for security and wholeness. When love is divided, your peace is divided with it. You may try to convince yourself that you are strong enough to handle less than you deserve, but your heart quietly keeps score. It feels the absence of exclusivity, the missing reassurance, the uncertainty that follows you even on your happiest days. There is a constant undercurrent of comparison that starts to live inside you. You begin measuring yourself against someone else, even when you never wanted to compete. Every small gesture, every word, every change in mood can trigger thoughts of, am I enough? Or, who is more important? This invisible competition exhausts your mind and steals energy that could have been used to build your dreams and confidence. Emotional consequences also show up as insecurity, not because you are weak, but because the situation itself produces insecurity. When your place is not singular, your heart is not settled, you find yourself seeking reassurance more often, needing proof of love repeatedly, and doubting promises that should have felt natural and safe. This constant emotional vigilance drains your inner calm. Jealousy becomes an unwanted visitor that shows up even when you do not invite it. You may dislike feeling jealous, yet the circumstances keep provoking it. Moments that should be joyful become overshadowed by questions about where you truly stand. Even if you stay silent, your heart feels the weight of sharing what it wanted to call its own. Over time, emotional fatigue sets in. You get tired of pretending that everything is fine. You get tired of acting strong while your heart feels fragile. You get tired of smiling outside while battling storms inside. This inner exhaustion can affect your sleep, your focus, your health, and even your ability to trust again. There is also a silent grief that accompanies being second. It is the grief of knowing that you accepted less than what you once dreamed for yourself. You mourn the version of you who believed in being chosen first without hesitation or division. This grief may not be loud, but it sits quietly in your heart, reminding you of the compromises you made. The emotional consequences can also affect your self-image. You may start to see yourself through the lens of the position you accepted rather than the value you truly hold. Instead of saying, "I am worthy," you begin to think, "Maybe this is all I deserve." This shift is subtle but powerful, shaping future choices and relationships in ways you never intended. You may also experience constant inner conflict. One part of you wants to stay because of attachment, habit, or affection, while another part cries out for dignity and peace. Living between these two voices creates emotional chaos. You learn to smile while suppressing your truth, and that suppression gradually distances you from your authentic self. Trust becomes fragile in such situations. Even if you try your best to trust, the structure of the relationship keeps creating doubt. You start questioning words, actions, schedules, and explanations more than you ever wanted to. Trust should be a resting place, but instead it becomes hard work that never seems to fully settle your heart. Ultimately, the emotional consequences of becoming a second choice shape how you feel about love, about relationships, and about yourself, coloring your hopes, your expectations, and the way you see your own worth in ways that your heart continues to carry. Your future and your dreams are precious parts of who you are, not accessories you can casually set aside to fit into someone else's life. When you allow temporary affection to distract you from your long-term goals, you begin to rewrite your story around someone who may not be willing to give you the commitment and honor you deserve. Dreams do not disappear overnight. They fade slowly when you keep choosing moments of emotional comfort over the life you once imagined for yourself. Every person carries within them a picture of the life they hope to build. It may include peace, stability, respect, loving partnership, and personal growth. When you enter situations where you are not valued fully, that picture begins to blur. Instead of moving forward, you start constantly adjusting, compromising, and shrinking your dreams to make space for circumstances that do not support your true potential. Temporary affection can feel powerful because it fills emotional gaps in the moment. Attention, sweet words, and promises can create the illusion of security, but illusions do not build futures. What builds a future is consistency, respect, and commitment that stands strong even when emotions fluctuate. Choosing short-term comfort at the cost of long-term peace becomes a trade that your heart eventually realizes was too expensive. Your dreams matter because they are deeply connected to your identity. When you silence them for someone who will not choose you fully, you are not just pausing a plan, you are pressing pause on your own growth. Opportunities that were once within reach begin to move further away because your energy is tied up in managing emotional imbalance instead of building your life. When you protect your dreams, you also protect your emotional and mental health. Goals give direction, purpose gives strength, and vision keeps you moving. But when your time is spent waiting for attention, justifying your position, or competing for affection, very little is left for self-development. You start surviving emotionally instead of progressing personally, and your life slowly becomes centered around uncertainty instead of purpose. Sacrificing your dreams for temporary affection often brings regret later. There comes a time when you look back and realize how much time, energy, and potential was spent trying to hold on to something that was never whole. The opportunities you walked away from, the decisions you delayed, and the growth you postponed begin to weigh on your heart because deep down you knew you deserved more than fragments of love. Your future deserves relationships that support it, not ones that sabotage it. When someone truly values you, they will not ask you to give up your dignity, your goals, or your peace just to stay with them. They will cheer for your success, respect your standards, and see your dreams as something to be protected, not as obstacles to their convenience. Anything that demands the death of your dreams is not love, but attachment wrapped in emotion. Choosing your future over temporary affection also means trusting that you are capable of standing on your own. Many people stay in unhealthy situations because they doubt their ability to build a meaningful life by themselves. But strength grows when you choose yourself. When you invest in your education, your skills, your faith, your character, and your purpose, you create a future that does not depend on being someone's second choice. Dreams do not compete for space with self-respect. They grow out of it. When you value yourself, you naturally pursue relationships that align with your goals rather than derail them. You begin to look beyond the emotion of the moment and ask important questions. Does this relationship honor my worth, my peace, and my future? Or does it pull me away from who I am becoming? Your future and your dreams matter because they represent the life you are still capable of creating, the peace you deserve to experience, and the respect you deserve to receive every single day. Healthy love honors and commits completely because it is built on clarity, truth, and respect rather than convenience or divided attention. When someone truly values you, they don't keep you in the shadows or ask you to share your place in their life. They are willing to stand beside you openly, take responsibility for their promises, and give you the security of knowing that you are the only one in that sacred space of commitment. Real love is not confused about where you belong. It does not make you question your worth every day or leave you wondering whether you are enough. Instead, it brings stability. It says through actions, not just words, you matter, you are chosen, and you do not have to compete. That kind of love brings rest to the heart because it is whole, not divided, not borrowed, and not secret. When love is healthy, it protects your dignity. It never requires you to lower your standards or sacrifice your self-respect to keep it. It doesn't ask you to tolerate lies, share affection that should be exclusive, or accept broken promises as normal. Healthy love stands in alignment with your values and supports your emotional and spiritual well-being instead of injuring it. Commitment in real love means being present not only when things are exciting, but also when life is ordinary or difficult. It shows up consistently. It chooses you again and again, not just when it is convenient. When commitment is genuine, you do not have to beg for attention or cling to someone out of fear that they might replace you. You feel secure because their loyalty confirms your worth. A key sign of unhealthy love is that it constantly asks you to share your place or accept a divided heart. It convinces you that half love is better than no love, that fragments are enough, that you should be grateful for whatever space you are given. But healthy love does the opposite. It gives fully. It does not leave you with leftovers of time, energy, or affection. In love that honors you, honesty is a non-negotiable foundation. There are no hidden roles, no secret relationships, and no double lives you must adapt to. You are not asked to stay silent or invisible. You are acknowledged, respected, and treated as a priority. This honesty strengthens trust and allows your heart to relax instead of living in constant suspicion or fear. Healthy love does not place you in competition with another person for the same place in someone's life. Competition might feel flattering at first, but it slowly turns into insecurity and pain. Real love refuses to put you into such situations because it understands that respect and rivalry cannot live in the same space. Where there is true commitment, there is no comparison. When love honors you, it encourages you to grow rather than shrink. You are free to pursue your dreams, express your opinions, and be fully yourself. You don't have to become smaller to be accepted. Instead, you are appreciated for your individuality and supported in becoming even stronger, wiser, and more confident. A relationship that truly values you will not make you question whether you deserve exclusivity. It naturally gives it. You don't have to fight for your position, argue for your importance, or prove that you are worthy of being first. Your place is secure because the love itself carries integrity and respect. Healthy love honors and commits completely by choosing one heart, one promise, and one direction, creating an environment where your value is not divided, Your worth is not debated, and your place is not shared. Setting strong personal boundaries begins with the understanding that your time, your heart, and your peace are valuable. Boundaries are a way of telling the world how you expect to be treated and what you will no longer accept. When you do not set boundaries, people assume they can step into your life at any time, take what they want emotionally, and leave you to deal with the weight of it. Boundaries are not selfish. They are an expression of self-respect. Boundaries help you separate what is your responsibility and what is not. You are not responsible for fixing someone else's broken promises, carrying their guilt, or accepting their excuses when their behavior hurts you. When you draw a clear emotional line, you stop absorbing pain that doesn't belong to you. You learn to recognize when someone's choices violate your dignity, and you give yourself permission to step back instead of staying silent. Saying no is a powerful part of boundary setting. Many people struggle with the word no because they fear rejection, conflict, or being misunderstood. But every time you say yes to something that violates your values, you are saying no to your own peace. Learning to say no without guilt allows you to protect your heart from situations that drain you or require you to compromise your worth. Strong boundaries are built from clarity. You must first be clear within yourself about what you want, what you believe, and what you will no longer tolerate. If you are unsure of your limits, others will be unsure too. Clarity gives you confidence, and confidence prevents you from getting pulled into relationships or positions that leave you feeling second, unseen, or unimportant. When you set boundaries, the wrong people may become uncomfortable because boundaries expose who only benefits from your weakness. People who truly care about you will respect your limits, even if they do not fully understand them. Those who become angry or manipulative when you set boundaries reveal exactly why those boundaries were necessary in the first place. Boundaries also protect your emotional energy. Without them, you are constantly explaining yourself, defending your choices, and overextending to please others. With them, you conserve your strength for what truly matters in your life. You stop chasing approval and start honoring your own voice. Emotional exhaustion decreases when you stop giving unlimited access to people who have not earned that level of closeness. Personal boundaries reshape how you see yourself. Instead of feeling like you must tolerate anything to be loved, you begin to realize that love, which demands your silence and sacrifice of dignity, is not love at all. You develop a deeper relationship with yourself, one where your feelings are valid, your needs matter, and your worth is not up for negotiation. Boundaries also guide your choices in relationships. They keep you away from situations where you are asked to share your place, hide your role, or accept less than commitment. They remind you that it is better to wait for healthy love than to stay in unhealthy attachments. You begin to choose environments that match your standards, instead of lowering your standards to fit unhealthy environments. Setting boundaries requires courage, because it sometimes means walking away from what is familiar. Familiarity can be comfortable even when it is painful. But when you value your self-respect, you become willing to risk discomfort to protect your peace. You trust that honoring yourself will eventually lead you to relationships and situations where you are valued without needing to compromise. As your boundaries grow stronger, your life slowly becomes calmer. Drama lessens, confusion fades, and self-blame weakens because you no longer allow behavior that hurts you to stay unchecked.